A very good evening and warm welcome to Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. My name is Lincoln Ombogwa. Our sign language interpreter is Michael Maithia. We have a lot prepared for you tonight, but first, let's take a look at the highlights. President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga today launched a BBI Signatures Collection Drive. President Kenyatta folds DCI's decision to revive post-election violence cases. Ethiopia urges the international community to refrain from unwelcome and unlawful acts of interference in its affairs following calls to end the conflict in the northern Tigray region. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, Switch TV Kenya. You can send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Umbogo on all my social media handles. On to the top stories tonight. Deputy President William Ruto was conspicuously missing during Wednesday's launch of the referendum bill and national signature collection drive by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga at the KICC here in Nairobi. According to the program of the day, Deputy President William Ruto was not among the leaders lined up to speak during the launch.
Last time at the Bomas of Kenya, DP William Ruto stole the limelight in not only differing with his boss over the BBI reports, but by passionately expressing his reservations against the document amid cheers from the crowd.
Or we have candidates, they will win an election, and then the president will appoint the prime minister and the two deputies from the winning coalition. And then we will have the runner-up being the leader of opposition. Now, no problem, it doesn't matter who it is. I have no problem. You know, let us not personalize, there is no problem.
DP William Ruto asked leaders pushing for constitutional change to give priority to the needs of the people, saying those calling for amendments to the constitution should not be informed by political and personal interests. Deputy President William Ruto, ANC Party Leader Musalia Mudavadi, governors, MCS and a section of religious leaders and civil society groups have all asked for considerable amendments. Amendments, they say, would avert a contested referendum.
Let us reason together. Let us not engage in a contest of us versus them.
Ruto also skipped the handing over of the BBI report to Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga by the BBI task force in Kisii County. Elsewhere, Deputy President William Ruto allies believe the DCI push to revive the post-election violence cases is also a scheme to derail his 2022 State House bid.
A divisive BBI referendum is being forced on Kenyans, and to add insult to injury.
Take charge against this evil cabal within your government, Mr. President.
Nauliza, hii post-election violence ilikuwa Rift Valley peke yake?
President Uhuru Kenyatta should come out. Are you the one who told the ICC you've sorted these issues? Or you are the one now who is reopening these issues?
Usikubali hii maneno define your legacy, Your Excellency. Tafadhali, you have invested too much in this peace in this country.
According to reports, Deputy President William Ruto flew back to the country on Sunday, November 22nd, after a 4-day family business trip at the United Arab Emirates. Emmanuel Terrer, Switch TV.
Thank you, Emmanuel Terrer, for that story. The process of national collection of signatures in the push for a referendum to endorse the recommendation of the BBI has now commenced officially, with national leaders appending their signatures earlier today. And as David Kagina now reports, there has been a few amendments to the initial report, including the manner in which the ombudsman will be appointed. Take a look.
After clearance of the recommended methods of collecting the signatures for a possible referendum by the IEBC, the ball is now rolling. The reggae is no longer paused.
Nobody can stop reggae.
From the KICC, with a few final touches, the BBI train now heads to 47 counties for signatures, the Secretariat having promised by next week Monday to deliver 1 million signatures in a record of 7 days. Uniquely, this time the signatures can be appended either physically or digitally.
The need for change of our constitution has been with us for some time. So we need together to strengthen the 2010 constitution. And I want to make it clear here, that we're not talking about replacing a constitution. We're talking about amending a constitution. The first of many possible amendments that will come over a period of time.
Among the top reviews of the report is the matter of the Judiciary Ombudsman, which has been a major issue of concern, since according to the initial report, it's the president that would appoint someone. However, now according to Raila Odinga, the applicants will be interviewed by a panel and 3 names will be submitted to the president, who will then pick one and send to parliament for vetting and finally be appointed by the president. The ODM Premier Raila Odinga recommended the BBI report as the work of the brilliant minds working together through the steering committee.
We are opening a new chapter of the book we started writing in March 2018. The chapters we have covered so far have been quite interesting and engaging. But it is about to get even more interesting with the chapter we open today of collecting signatures, and then the next 3 going to the country assemblies, then to parliament, and then to a referendum. It's a great time to be in Kenya and to participate in the making of history.
President Uhuru Kenyatta also shed light on one of the issues that led to the handshake, which he says was pushed by intelligence reports reaching him.
I can tell you honestly, as your president, who consumes first-hand information from a multitude of sources, if there had been no handshake, this country would have been. Fellow Kenyans, truth be told, we were on the verge of a divisiveness that would have deeply undermined our continuity, our unity, and our peace.
The report is set to be tabled before all 47 counties early next year, should the collection and verification of 1 million signatures go as planned. Having put into consideration some of the recommendations by various groups in the country, the BBI report now awaits the appendment of signatures for it to move on to the next step, which is the referendum. Reporting for Switch TV from the KICC in Nairobi, I'm David Kagina.
Thank you, David Kagina. Dissecting the BBI comes to you every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Kenyans are still hesitant pending their signatures. Even after the launch to kickstart, the process was conducted earlier today. Some say that they were not educated about the contents of the BBI report. Now, they want the government to pause a bit on the appending of signatures and focus on the pandemic facing the country. Robert Homer with more.
The Building Bridges initiative has been the message of President Uhuru Kenyatta and the opposition leader Raila Odinga since early 2018. Legally, it is only right when citizens are incorporated in matters that bring effect to the country's most precious document, the Constitution. Some Kenyans are, however, not ready for this.
Hata hiyo mambo ya sahihi sioni maana yake. Maanake kuna watu wanalala njaa. Hata kuweka sima tu kwa meza inakuwa ni shida.
Bado kulingana na sheria ile ya Kenya tunatumia ni sheria nzuri sana. Hawange violate hiyo katiba. Ile katiba tuko nayo ndio wangeifuata waitekeleze. Kuliko wanaharibu pesa kuzunguka na hiyo pesa ingeweza tumika kwa njia nzuri kama kusaidia jamii kupata maji, elimu, chakula.
Today's launch marks the beginning of collection of signatures, which will in turn determine the next move the country will take constitutionally.
Mimi mwenyewe sikuwa iona. na sijui nini kwa ndani, na siwezi ipendekeza ati ni sign kitu yenye hata sijui ni nini.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga have urged Kenyans to turn up and append their signatures. The year is 2018 March, when President Uhuru Kenyatta, with his handshake partner Raila Odinga, decided to initiate the process of amending the Constitution. 2 years down the line after sowing and pushing for the Building Bridges initiative, the harvest is yet to be decided by the citizens of this great republic. Robert Uma, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Robert Ober. The move by the Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kenyatta, to conduct a probe on matters related to the 2007-2008 post-election violence has been openly criticized by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The president declared that such action will not be accepted since it amounts to reopening of wounds.
Kwamba wale ambao wanajaribu kuchimbua makaburi, nilisoma kwa gazeti juzi, wasifikiri wanacheza. Mimi siwezi kukubaliana na mambo kama haya. Tumetoka huko na mambo haya tumezika katika kaburi ya sahau. Kwa sababu ukijaribu kulete maneno hapa, wewe hujui ni shida gani. Anayo wengine hawafikiri. You don't think before you talk, you don't think before you act. You must always think before you do something. Sisi hatutaki vita katika taifa letu la Kenya. Sisi wengine wetu tunajua maana ya amani. Na sisi tunataka kurekebisha zile shida na turekebishe kwa njia ya kikatiba, kwa njia ya kisheria. Ndio Kenya isonge mbele na Wakenya wawe kitu kimoja.
Moving on, health workers in the country seem to continue bearing the heavy weight of the COVID-19 pandemic after 13 health workers succumbed to COVID-19 in the month of November alone. Our news desk earlier today spoke to the president of the Kenya Medical Association, who shed more light on the alarming rate of health workers' infections.
In a battle like the one the globe is facing against COVID-19, it's almost inevitable for the frontline soldiers to lead the war without injuries. Healthcare workers currently have recorded over 1,500 positive cases, with 33 succumbing to the virus. However, according to Dr. Were Onyino, the president of the Kenya Medical Association, the lack of adequate PPEs contributes highly to increasing healthcare workers' infections.
You're exposing the healthcare worker, the doctor, to being infected. And two, as you use the same PPE that you use on patient A and to patient B, God forbid, was negative, then you're also now infecting that particular patient.
Were continues to blame politicians for continuing to break public health guidelines by holding mass gatherings, which has greatly attributed to the nation facing a second wave of the virus, adding how the much-hyped and anticipated BBI report does not reply to the grievances facing health workers, like provision of medical covers.
Politicians, and this is the two principles, listen to us and our proposals, then I think we'll be making one step forward, because the conversation in this country about the reforms that we need can only not be addressing issues that concern politicians alone, but it also needs to look at the needs of Wanjiku.
Today, Kenya has recorded new 810 COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of cases to 79,322. Meanwhile, 265 patients have recovered from the virus, bringing the sum total of recoveries to 52,974. However, 8 patients have succumbed, bringing the total number of fatalities from COVID-19 to 1,417. As COVID-19 continues to wreak merciless havoc in the nation, the government seems to continue ignoring the plight of health workers. However, according to Were, the country could yet to meet the worst of the pandemic. Daniel Kariuki for Switch TV, Nairobi.
Well, with Daniel Kariuki's story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. We are live on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, Switch TV Kenya. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wombogo. The county government of Murang'a today fumigated Kennel Town together with County Commissioner's Office. This is due to continued rise of COVID-19 patients in the country and Matatu operators going back to the old days of carrying passengers without observing MOH guidelines.
Speaking in Kennel Town, Murang'a County, Health CEC Joseph Mbai said the government has taken this action because of the difficulty to trace contacts of COVID-19 patients and that fumigation of towns could help them curb the spread of the virus.
Tukaona kwa sababu hawa watu tukiendelea kutafuta wale wameshirikiana nao, wale wanaitwa contacts, tumeona wametembea sana, wameenda kwa masoko, wameenda madukani, wameenda mpaka kwenye supermarkets. Kwa hivyo ndio tunahimiza wale watu wenye supermarkets, wenye mabaa, wenye mahoteli, baada ya kila wiki mbili wanafanya fumigation.
Mbai warned Matatu operators who are flouting Ministry of Health guidelines on public service transportation.
Mwangi wa Iria ameuda kikosi ambayo kutoka Monday itakuwa ikikamata mpaka Matatu, itakuwa na roadblocks, wenye wanauza manduka, wote kama hauna mask, na watu wa Matatu wameanza kubeba watu kama kawaida ambao ni kinyume na sheria.
Residents claim that Matatu operators have gone back the old days of carrying excess passengers without masks, no sanitizers and no social distancing, as they also blame the security apparatus for neglecting their security because of bribes.
Nimeona watu wengi wanashuka gari wakiwa wamebebwa hata zaidi ya watu 15. Hata kuuliza dereva na kondakta wawe wakifuata hizi sheria za COVID, sanitizer wawe nazo.
They have added that Kenyans' lives are being endangered following yesterday's scenario where a man died in a Matatu in Nairobi for suspected COVID-19 case. Samuel Namkana, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Samuel Namkana, for that story. Elsewhere, Kenya Film Classification Board (KFCB) has promised to prosecute and impound any public service vehicles exhibiting unrated content with the conductors, drivers and owners of the vehicles. The board has also condemned the recent incidences of child abuse and recruitment into pornographic activities. KFCB, however, promised to take legal action against advertising companies that are exposing children to inappropriate content during watershed period. Daniel Karaoke reports.
Following the recent gate-crashing at the party where more than 44 teenagers were found with more than 100 empty alcohol bottles, condoms in someone's house, the Kenya Film Classification Board (KFCB) has come out to strongly condemn the action days later.
Advertising companies, video dens and beer brewers starting to put profits ahead of the safety of our children, thus selling adult products for children and entertaining minors without a care even to the curfew hours.
KFCB Board CEO Ezekiel Mutua says they will shut down video dens admitting minors and their licenses withdrawn and owners prosecuted in line with the law. Mutua says the board will take legal action against any online content distributors in the country exposing children to adult content in the disguise of doing business.
Collaborate with the DCI to arrest and prosecute any adults found facilitating minors to engage in immoral activities, especially watching porn or being admitted in places where untold material is being displayed.
Mutua further appealed to members of the public to alert the board on any adult content being advertised during the watershed period or in places that can be accessed by children. Daniel Karaoke for Switch TV.
Thank you, Daniel Karaoke. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry (KNCCI) recognizes the contributions of small and medium enterprises for their exceptional achievements towards industrial transformation and output, employment generation and job creation, export, sustainable economic growth and other distinguished contributions and development towards business competitiveness to realize national growth. Our reporter Clifford Ndubi attended 100 years of Laikipia as a business hub and filed the following feature story.
The year is 1920. It all started as a dream. Local leaders envisioned and started curating the town to become a business hub for local and international markets, famously known as Mwisho wa Reli. But why?
It tells of how engineers constructing the 250-kilometer Nairobi-Nanyuki railway got trapped and carried away by merry and fun that characterizes the town, and in the process lost the map. With nothing to show them the route where the railway line was to take, further construction of this critical infrastructure then hit a dead. This earned Nanyuki the nickname Mwisho wa Reli. 100 years on, Laikipia County, which lies on this cool and temperate climate, is becoming a force to reckon due to its steadily growing economy. It adds 1.1% to the GDP of the country, which is equivalent to 81.095 billion shillings.
I think this effort by the Chamber of Commerce is a demonstration of the sort of thing that we need to do. Because the Chamber is saying, let's look at the initiatives by county government, by the Chamber. Let's look at the initiatives by the national government and leverage on one another to make it easier for businesses in Laikipia to grow faster, bigger.
Happy birthday to you.
In its century celebrations, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industries, together with the county, is keen to empower SMEs, which create 80% of the country's employment. That is also the backbone of the economy.
We need to build upon our broad base of local SMEs, and they must continuously upgrade to compete in the international market.
Through international partnerships, businesses in Laikipia and across the country stand to benefit through organizations that are seeking to capacity build entrepreneurs.
Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, since the inception in 1965, we have been supporting SMEs to make sure there is growth, to make sure there is development, to make sure there is financial inclusion.
3 degrees south of the equator line, this is Laikipia County, and at this particular place, some of the things that you might not be knowing about Laikipia County is that it has one of the highest life expectancy rates in the country, which stands at 70%. Not only that, this particular county, it produces some of the sweetest waters that you might be using in your house. Away from the unknown facts about Laikipia County, even with its growth, the county heavily relies on farming, where production is one thing and finding a market for their products is another.
We are not addressing the marketing point of view. Again, what we are doing with in growing that economy is ensuring that we don't just do production for the sake of it. So it's production guided by data, by research.
75% of the country comprises of the youth, a group that even the president is keen on empowering. Their potential is getting noticed. KNCCI Laikipia Chapter Chairman Ndegwa Gitonga is keen on providing a mentorship platform for the young people.
In the mentorship programs that we're giving our youth and our women is to try and sensitize them on best practice, on what has happened, on what has worked, so that they can emulate and see how they can start a business that helps them and the next generation.
As the sun sets from this beautiful plateau, the stage is set to discuss how the next 100 years will look like for Laikipia County. Clifford Ndubi, Switch TV.
Thank you, Clifford Ndubi, for that story. The Nairobi Metropolitan Services on Friday announced its plan to decongest the city by banning public service vehicles from accessing the central business district. However, the move was not received well by Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, who termed the move as untimely. Majibu Kitsao has the details.
Upon taking office, Nairobi Metropolitan Service boss Nairobi Mbadi, one of his top priorities was decongesting the city. This has, however, saw the removal of public service vehicles from the central business district. Kenyans, especially Matatu drivers too, have their say on this.
For example, madhe yangu akitolewa nimtoe ucha ama nimtoe hiyo kise nimlete tau. Awekwe huko na anaenda Mudhurwa, ako na mzigo. Hiyo ni gharama nyingine.
The Matatu workers claim that the move has affected their business.
Kuna vile magari sitatoka railways siende Urubag. Hiyo ni kumaanisha mwananchi mwenye hana uwezo hata kuja tauni. Akiwa na mzigo na watoto asukishwe huko Urubag. Sidhani kama kukuja railways kwake ama kuenda Ngara ni itakuwa haki kwake.
Mbadhi aache kutumia kifua. Aache kutumia kifua. Kulikuwa kina Michuki. Atumie crown poa. Tunamheshimu lakini atuheshimu.
According to Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, the NMS should provide an alternative before banning PSV's access to CBD. NMS has been working hand in hand with the National Transport and Safety Authority to reduce congestion around the CBD by constructing bus stations on the outskirts of the city, according to General Badi. Sakaja, who once filed a case against Governor Sonko over the same matter 2 years ago, has vowed to oppose this new move by the NMS. Is he going to push through with his plan? Majibu Kitsao, Switch TV News, Nairobi.
Thank you, Majibu Kitsao. Moving on, police in Uganda have confirmed the death toll from last week's protest has gone up to 45. The police spokesperson, Fred Enanga, has confirmed that 39 men and 6 women have died. Most of the shooting was carried out by the plainclothes operatives who were recorded by members of the public brandishing guns in the streets. Security Minister Jen Eli Tumuye has reiterated that police and other security forces have a right to shoot and kill if protesters reach a certain level of violence. Police, on the other hand, claimed that 11 officers had been attacked and injured by protesters. Sporadic protests broke out in the capital Kampala and other towns as demonstrators called for the release of presidential candidate Robert Chagulanyi, known as Bobby Wine, who had been arrested at a campaign rally. Ethiopia has urged the international community to refrain from unwelcome and unlawful acts of interference in its affairs following calls to end the conflict in the northern Tigray region. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has called the military offensive a law enforcement operation on Sunday. Abiy issued a 72-hour ultimatum that ended today, but still no action has been taken on the Tigray's forces. Tigray's forces have vowed to keep fighting, with their leader Gebre Michael saying that they are ready to die in the defense of their right to administer the region. Meanwhile, Ethiopia's state of appointed Human Rights Commission has accused a youth group from the Tigray region of being behind a massacre earlier this month in which it says more than 600 civilians were killed. The commission says the group stabbed, bludgeoned and burned to death non-Tigrayan residents of the town of Mai Kadra with a collision of local forces. Well, it's time for Business with Clifford Ndobi.
Good evening and welcome. This is the latest from the world of business. My name is Clifford Ndobi. Treasury and Planning Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani today presided over the official launch of the public hearings of the financial year 2021-2022 and the medium-term budget proposals. Speaking during the event at the Kenya International Conference Center, the CS reiterated on the importance of public participation as required in Article 201 of the Constitution on matters of openness and accountability in management of public finances. Kennedy Kimani has filed the following report.
The enactment of the Public Finance Management Act of 2012 guarantees citizens the right to participate in developing county and national budgets every fiscal year. The budget hearing process allows the national and county governments to prioritize the needs of the people, hence aligning their needs to government policy.
During the meetings, the public will have an opportunity to interrogate the sectoral performance and prioritize programs for the financial year 2021-22 and the medium term. The input from the public will go towards the firming up of the spending proposals to be submitted to Parliament towards the end of April 2021.
Kenya is, however, weighed down by swelling public debt and faces the possibility of a debt crisis.
Efforts should be made to reduce aspiring public debt. Therefore, the deliberations here on the budget proposals should be focused on making difficult choices. If the various sectors will be unable to do this at this level, be informed that the legislature will effect.
All right, that's all we had for you from the business desk. Up next is the latest from the world of sports.
And from the sports desk, after several months of uncertainty surrounding world sport due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, international basketball finally fully returns to Africa with the FIBA AfroBasket 2021 qualifiers scheduled for November 25th to 29th. Currently, Kenya is taking on Senegal, and we have the live feed. Well, that sports story wraps up our news podcast tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreter is Michael Maithia. Good evening.